He's a way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper. He's a light in the darkness of our lives. Job said, in his light, I walk through my darkness. Maybe somebody is hearing me this evening and you are feeling the pain. You are feeling the effects. You are feeling the impact of darkness in your life. He's a way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper. He's a light in darkness. And that light, good evening everyone, that light shines in darkness and darkness cannot comprehend it. His light is life. In him was life and light. And that light is the life of men. And that light shines in darkness and darkness cannot comprehend it. And that's why whatever it is, whatever the challenges, whatever you're going through, light will shine. When light comes, darkness vanishes. Good evening everyone. Good evening Mas. Good evening Mas and Sas. Good evening everyone watching me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I celebrate every one of you. I'm just saying that you need to understand the dynamics of if a relationship is toxic or is not toxic. Now let me take us to another level this evening. Toxic or not toxic. Let me come from the angle of your relationship with God. You know, sometimes when we go through pain, when life has beaten us black and blue, we can actually think working with your creator, working with God is toxic. I'm coming in another light this evening, and that is what is impressed in my spirit. Sometimes when we have a loss of marriage relationship, loss of the loved ones, you know, somebody will just conclude and say, God is not fair. God is wicked. You know, we reach some conclusions when we go through stuffs. And I've seen people that have actually said, if this thing happened to me, blah, 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 I will tear my Bible. I will forget about God. And I smile. Your relationship with God is not toxic. It's love. Sometimes love can be tough. Love can be tough. Let me give you a practical example. God loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten son. But the purpose of Jesus that he loved so much cannot be accomplished if God did not show tough love. And what was the tough love he showed? He actually closed his eyes, shut his eyes, and make sure that, he removed his eyes when he was carrying the sin of the world. Now, that was a tough love. And I'm taking you somewhere this evening. Please follow me. Sometimes God allows us. He permits some things in our lives to make us better. To give us the privilege of growth and maturity. So I don't know who is hearing me this evening. You have this conception, this perception, this impression about God not being fair. Why would you allow me to go through this? Why did it happen to me? My mother died when I was young. I lost my children in an accident. I was raped. Where was God? Was he sleeping? Was he snoring? Where was God when the gang raped me? Where was God when I've been trusting for pregnancy for a very long time and the babies are not just coming? Where is God in all of this? I have a good news for you. Sometimes delay is not denial. Sometimes God takes you round, but he's not taking you wrong. Sometimes challenges comes to check the stuff you are made of. I remember Job said, if a man dies, shall he live again? In the days of my appointed time, I will wait till my change comes. Sometimes Job was wondering, what did I do? Who have I offended? I've not broken any law. As a matter of fact, he was so boastful of his work with God that he said, look at me. When my children goes to party, and I don't know if they have taken wine or pop champagne because they are rich, we are rich, I would do sacrifices for my children in case they have made a mistake before their creator. He told his friend, he said, what I feed my widows with, is what some of you eat in your house. He said a lot of things that made me to puzzle. He said, if I had looked at a woman and lust after her, let another man grind on my wife in public is a sin that I cannot explain. It's an erroneous sin. It's not a sin that I can fathom because it's wickedness before God. He was telling his creator that you cannot catch me with infidelity. How many rich men in this world will not say, I have a side chick, even on the pew, on the pulpit, that someone had seen my nakedness apart from my wife? How many men will say that? To an extent that the wife of Job said, curse God and die. Would you still maintain your integrity? If your wife, it's only your wife that knows if you have integrity or not. If your wife will say, you are still keeping your purity, you are keeping your integrity with all of this, that tells you something. That this man had no guile, had no fault. Nothing happened to him. But intentionally, God exposed him. Sometimes, when we are going through stuffs and we think our relationship with God is toxic, it is not. It could be for a promotion. As a matter of fact, you know what Job said? He knows the way that I take. When it's true with me, I will come out as gold. Gold is different from costume. I'm privileged to have the two. It's not the same. When you are keeping your gold, you keep it well. You don't flaunt it and throw it everywhere and anywhere. Job said, he knows the way that I take. When it's true with me, I will come out as gold. I'm not coming out as a costume. Gold is furnished under the fire of affliction. There are times we get into life, the school of life, and it becomes so tough and toxic. The two questions you need to ask yourself: is it sin? Have I done something wrong? What did I do? Or is it a test of faith? The Bible says that God tests the righteous, not the sinner. Test the righteous. The moment you sit down to ask yourself, my relationship with my Creator, is it toxic? Is it because I'm just following God dogmatically? I'm just being religious? Why? I give my tithes, I give my offering, I honor people, I do da. What is the problem? Please, listen to me carefully this evening. I have said it before and I'm saying it again. A lot of us, we try to look at someone else's watch to monitor and watch our lives. Everyone, we are living a script. Even what you thought was an accident, was evil, was bad, all things work together for good because you love God. You know what Job said? He said, David said, it wasn't Job. He said, thank God I was afflicted, I wouldn't have learnt his ways. When the affliction was going on, it would have looked toxic. It would have looked horrible, hazardous. Why? But the one that made you, your Creator, He knows what He has in store for you. He knows the route you will take. Let's look at lives. Now, don't forget, everyone I'm trying to mention their names in the scriptures, they don't have a Bible to read. They don't have understanding. They don't know what. They don't know why. But they were privileged to live their script. And today, we have access to them. We can read about them. We can be inspired by them. We can get revelations from them. They had no inspiration. They had no revelation. They have nothing. They have no reference points. And yet, they did extraordinarily. They became an epistle. They became a voice. They became an institution to be discovered in the name of what they went through that looks toxic in quotes. Now, I'm going to relate it to relationship with, I've talked about relationship with God. Now, even if it's a relationship with the person that you are relating with, maybe in marriage or other relationships, sometimes it may look toxic. That's why you must know what is going on. Now, one thing about me is I will know what is happening. I discovered that it is not good for a soul not to know. That's the scriptures. I discovered that my people are not destroyed because of demons. They are destroyed because they lack knowledge. So whatever I'm going through, any challenge at all, the next thing is my ears is on the ground. You know, Yoruba English. I keep putting my ears to listen to the voice of what is saying. And if I hear it clearly that is a test of faith, I change. I get excited. I know that even in the natural, there is no promotion without a test. There is no promotion in the natural without a test. So I feel very, very special. I feel good. I feel happy that, okay, he's counting me worthy now to become a proof, a specimen of his goodness, a proof of his mercies. I get excited. Others may be pitying me, looking at me. All things will still work together for good. Do you know that Jesus did not have to die? He died for a reason. That thing that is happening to you, that rejection, that abuse, that molestation, even the rape, let's take it that way. I've seen people that when they have an encounter in life that sound and look toxic, they make a message out of that mess. They become a voice in the midst of that storm. I know I'm talking to someone. It's not for everybody today, but there's someone hearing me now that you needed this information badly because you are questioning God. You are querying him. You are becoming puzzled about what you're going through, those experiences, those toxic experiences personally in your life by a hand you don't see. It's a different thing if it's your husband sometimes or your wife sometimes, but this is an invincible hand, a hand that shakes the shakables, the hand that held the whole universe, the hand that brought Lazarus from the grave. I was thinking, I'm talking about, is it toxic or not? I was looking at the life of Joseph. Most of the time, if I read and I keep meditating about a particular life, it gives me a privilege of joy. I'm using that word intentionally. A privilege of peace. Because joy is a privilege, peace is a privilege, life itself is a privilege. The privilege of having to just sit down and be watching the script that I'm living. Look at Joseph. God actually made him to have a dream. Is it toxic or not toxic? That's what I'm talking about. Gave him a dream. He saw stars. Now that tells you something, that sometimes, all of the time, when you have to take a route to where you are going, it's not going to be smooth, it's going to be bumpy. Bombs here and there, shaking here and there, boats being scattered here and there, capsizing, whatever. You want to die. Am I going to die? I can't die. I feel like dying. Because of one thing. You are living a vision. You are living a script. Do you know that some of the things you are going through now, they are messages, they are books, they are giving you oil. One day I was telling someone, I said, you don't even know what I've been through. And in the midst of it, that's in the crushing, that's where the perfume, the fragrance of my life is oozing from. Because some perfume, recently I told one of my daughters to get me a perfume, and she said, Mama, that perfume is 100,000. I said, but you deserve more. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Now, that particular perfume must have been made from a very expensive fruit, because honestly, just a little thing settles you for the day. I'm giving you an example. Now, that perfume, that oil is like, melon or groundnut. You want to bring out oil from that groundnut, it has to be squeezed and squeezed. After grinding, you squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Now, when the oil is being, especially the expensive seeds, the expensive perfume, when they are crushing it and bringing the oil, you might actually have a seed that is as big as this, my studio or my office, and you can only get like a drop after the crushing and the squeezing. But guess what happened at the end of the day is the one that is originally squeezed is more expensive than the one that is factory squeezed. I take coconut oil to eat. I don't take just any oil. It's expensive. A 50 liters, no. A 5 liter is about 60,000 naira of coconut oil that I take. Now, that tells you that I can also take the other one, vegetable oil and all of that. But because, and there are two types. There is machine press, there is hand press. The same thing is what happens to us when it looks toxic with our relationship with God, and we are wondering, what did I do? Who have I offended? Why this pain? Why this torture? What did I... Excuse me. I told someone one day, I said, this pain is too much. Jesus didn't have to die. He died for a reason. Do you know? For Joseph, he had a dream. I'm taking you somewhere because you're going to understand that it's not toxic. It is God's dealing. Because that particular episode of is it toxic or not toxic is all encompassing. It's all round. And I don't want to limit it to relationship alone. I want to let everyone know that it is not every relationship in your life that is toxic. Some mentors are somewhere, but I'm not talking about mentoring now. I'm still talking about God having to crush you, squeeze you, bring every good thing out of you in the place of crushing, in the place of death. He said, except a seed falls to the ground and die, it abides alone. There is a place in the life of a man that it is in that crushing that your character, your attitude becomes beautiful. Because if not, you are just raw like that from your parents, no good background, no good upbringing. It's not going to be funny. Now, Joseph had a dream. He told his dad. The daddy kept it. He told his siblings. They said, what's your problem? Are you going to be greater than us? We are going to bow to you. Okay, we'll show you. Now, why is it that, in all honesty, let's think together. Why is it that when God gave him a dream, he was now surrendered with toxic people? Who is the originator of the toxicity? Is God. The dimension of divinity cannot be ruled out. For every level, there is a devil that will show up. If it was the devil that was even making them to want to hurt you, do things to you, God is behind it. Calm down. Be calming down. His brother said to him, you're a dreamer. We will show you. We will kill you and see what will become of your dream. And God did not say anything. He went out with his brother. They wanted to kill him. Thank God for the voice of Judah, the voice of praise. He said, don't kill him. Come. Some people are coming to buy slaves. Let's sold him out. He was sold out. Sold out. And the moment he got to a place where he was being a slave boy, he was being treated like a slave boy and all of that, the oil, because it was a crushing place, it was a place of screening, it was a place of buffeting, torturing. Something just happened. The man just noticed that things are changing here. Who is here? Because of Joseph, God was blessing the house of Potiphar. Amazing. So it was no longer a slave boy. He became the master. He became the one in charge of all the accounts, record keeping, everything. It was on point. And God again came. Is it toxic or not toxic? That's my question today. He just came again and said, this boy is becoming too cold for comfort. Let's scatter the nest. Let's do something. Let's do the shakings. And his master's wife came consistently that he wanted to have sex with him. And the boy looked at him and said, me, I'm not here because of you. I'm here on a mandate. I cannot sleep with you. I can't compromise. My erection will not destroy my direction. There is something about me. My generation must hear me. It's not about you, Mrs. Potiphar or Mr. Potiphar or whosoever. I cannot do this wickedness against God. Now, the question is, he should have asked himself, God, why? What's wrong with me? Why are you doing this to me? This is not fair. I want you to get to a place where you know and you are sure that this is not the devil. You must get there. That waiting for husband is not the devil. Your character has to be pruned. It's not toxic. You must work on your manners. You must work on your integrity. You must work on your dignity. That's why you are still a little bit paused and stuck. When you get to that place, of maturity, where the fragrance, the perfume of your life is smelling, you will do something. As soon as he said no to the Potiphar's wife, the next place was the prison. What did I do? Is it toxic or not toxic? It becomes toxic because to him, I'm just trying to rest. 1 week, one trouble. You know what I mean? I don't know if you have been in a I don't know if you have been in a place that it's just a battle back to back. Bass. It's like you want to go crazy. I've been there actually. It was back to back. It was like God was tearing me and shredding me and stretching me. I felt stretched. But it was for today. It was for today. Because I noticed at every point in time, God was cushioning the blows. The blows, He was cushioning it. Something will happen, something would occur, something will show up that will say, you know, let me give you a practical example. The revelation I had in the midst of my shakings, my praying, my purging, is so simple. It's a little bit interesting, but let me put it this way, very interesting. How many of us have been to a cinema before? I don't know, either any of us. If you have been to a cinema before, let me see you. And you went to a cinema to watch a particular movie, and you just met somebody there that has no movie etiquette. He's jumping, he's screaming, yeah, actor will die, hey, he, and you are, excuse me, where all of us are here, well, let's watch this film, he, what is it? And the person stands from where he's seated with you, stood up and went to another person. Can't you see? Have you seen the actor? He's dying. And everybody's like, Madam, please. Some extroverts will talk. Calm down. What is it all about? Maybe he had to pack herself and probably sit again. And there was this man she's sitting beside. And the person was so calm, cool, collected, as if they were not watching the movies together. Yes, thank you. And it's like, you know, they have cautioned her to go and sit in her seat and all of that. So it was like, she just noticed that this person, are we not watching the same movie? Now, she was not the only one apprehensive, you know, trying to sit at the edge of her seat and all of that in that movie. That movie was actually heartbreaking. Your heart can almost come out. So it wasn't that the movie wasn't like as bad as she was too emotional. The movie was actually emotional. And she just turned and said, sir, are we together in this cinema? And the man just smiled. He said, excuse me, you know that actor you are thinking they will kill? They can't kill him. I'm the one that wrote the scripts that you're watching. I know the end of the movie. I know the end of the script. That's why I am not bothered. And the Holy Spirit said to me, the one that wrote the script of your life knows what is written. You are an actor in that movie. It's not toxic. You are an actor in that movie. Your life is not going to end in tragedy. The chapter 2, chapter 3, second half of your life, you are still going to live it. And that's the joy that I have. So it is not toxic when it comes to God. Please write it down and note it. When it comes to divinity, whatever it is, even if it's an attack, it is not good evening, it is not toxic. Even if it's an attack, because you are the actor in that movie, he wrote the script of your life, he knows what is written, he knows how it will end. For Joseph, it was not toxic. God was preparing him. Some of the things we assume is toxic is preparation for a height. It is because you are going somewhere and you cannot afford to be there anyhow. So it will take you round, but it's not taking you wrong. He would do things. It was like, what? I don't know if you have been there. That you will ask yourself, God, is that how you treat other children of yours? Yes. What did I do? Who have I offended? What is my sin? It's actually not toxic. It's grooming you. It's preparing you. Let's leave Joseph. Let's go to Esther. Esther means Adasa, a star. The first point of toxicity was when she lost her dad and her mom. And God was not dead. Don't forget, these people, they have a book in the book of life. They have a book in the book of life. And amazingly, her uncle just took interest in her. And she started being nurtured. Being nurtured by an uncle who is married and has children is not nurturing, it's survival. I'm sure she'll be the last person to sleep, the last person to wake up. Because she had to be up to take care of the house and do the chores. And we were not told that Uncle Mordecai was barren. She had her children. So she has been through a lot. It was obvious that she's been through a lot in her grooming process, in thinking this is toxic. Why would my uncle do this to me? I'm still coming to mentoring, but I'm not talking about mentoring now. I'm talking about divinity. Behind the scene, shaking the scene, and you don't even know. You need to sit down and understand the dynamism of not toxic with God. You need to, please caption that for me. That's going to be the caption of, it is not toxic with God. He knows the way that you take. He knows what he will do with you. He knows the wilderness experiences. He knows the challenges. He had to do it, or else you are not going to be useful. The fragrance of your life, the odor of your life will not smell nice. There are perfume that they sell for 10 naira, 20 naira, 70,000, 50,000. There is a perfume they sell for 300,000. Just one perfume, maybe 50 mils even, not up to 100 mils. But it's not the same ingredients, it's not the same seed, it's not the same plants. I hope I'm talking to someone. It's not for everybody, it's a special one today. With God, it's not toxic. It's not toxic. Now, we were not told that Mordecai was barren. But when the time for the beauty competition came, the one that has been treated, quote and unquote, like abused. Thank you. With God is not toxic. Thank you. The one that was treated like a slave, house girl, no father, no mother, only uncle, was the one that was presented for the beauty competition. Why did Uncle Mordecai not present her daughters? He wasn't barren. But those girls, those children, they've not been through the grooming process. They have not been through the toxicity in quotes process by divinity. And you know now, by the time Esther was going, her uncle said, you don't open your mouth and tell anybody you are a Jew. Yes, uncle. Because you cannot learn obedience if you have not suffered something. You cannot show up if you have not been through a toxic experience with your creator. It's not going to be real. And everybody will go through theirs. Some of you are going through yours. You are passing through some heavy dose challenges now, And of course, they are mocking you. Please let them mock you very well. Let them think ill of you. Let them suspect ill of you. Let them have their conclusion about you. Don't worry. Just calm down. Let them conclude. Conclusion is not a problem. They can conclude very well. And guess what? Our uncle told her, whatever they tell you to do, do there. Don't go and jump. Don't go and overshine. Calm down. She has no choice than to calm down. She has been calming down in her uncle's place. And as soon as she got there, they just noticed that this one is different. She's not like every other girls. This one is manner, well behaved, well cultured. Don't worry. He had favor. She had favor before the eunuch. You know the story. Go and read the book of Esther. It's not toxic with God. I've talked about Joseph. I've talked about Esther. And so even Jesus, he wasn't toxic. His father forsook him. He removed his eyes when he was going to the cross. Was that toxic? No. That thing that you are thinking is toxicity is actually programmed for your growth. Please write it down. Programmed for your lifting. Programmed for your movement. Programmed for the height. I was listening to a governor recently. They interviewed him on one of our stations, Fresh FM. It wasn't the same way he answered those questions when it came to government. Our governor, the Oyo State governor. I was telling Isaac Brown, I said, this guy is grown up, he's matured. Challenges matured you. Toxicity in quote matures you. Pain matures you. It gives you an edge. When I was listening to it, I said, this guy has developed. He was on a spot for like 2 hours, and he was not even looking at the notes and the questions he was answering them. I'm not a politician. I'm just telling you what it is. When you have allowed yourself to go through what you think is toxic in quotes, is growth, is development, is maturity. Do you know when Joseph went to that prison for 2 years, is it toxic or not toxic? It's not toxic with God. That's what I'm saying. Do you agree with me that from that place, from the prison, he was partially bitter. He was angry. And that was when he interpreted the dream of the baker and the butler. He started complaining. I didn't do anything. What did I, they just lied against me, put me in the prison, and I saw a star. When you get there, don't forget me. For 2 years, that's where I'm going. 2 solid years. Please understand this in your walk with your Creator at any level. Understand this in your walk with God, with your Creator at this level. If you don't have that understanding, you are going to be angry, you are going to be bitter, you are going to be complaining, you are going to be depressed, you are going to be murmuring, you are going to be in despair, you are going to be in pain. When you understand that, like Job said, he knows the way that I take. When it's true with me, I'll come out as gold. I'm not coming out as a costume. There's a purpose. He had an intention. He had something at the back of his mind for me. Oh my days. For Joseph, if they forgot it for 2 years, you know why? The way he was complaining, the way he was murmuring, the way he reacted to what happened to him, he had to process his pain. Listen to me. Whatever it is that you are going through, process it. Get a therapist. Do counseling. Don't assume, oh, it will go. Joseph, I deal with emotional wounds, addiction, and all of that. So I understand the dynamics of wounds and trauma. That was what I was talking about, trauma yesterday and all of that. On the last one I did, question and answer. For 47 years, the man was there because somebody broke his heart, which he left on the ground. And for 47, until 47, something that happened 60 years ago, he could not come off it. He could not move on. He's still crying by the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down because of pain. For 2 good years. I'll bring Joseph's case to recovery again and therapy. For 2 good years. The butler died. The baker died. And the butler was in the palace and he forgot. What was Joseph doing in that 2 years, in that process of time? He was dealing with his pain. He was dealing with issues in his life. He was dealing with what will not make him to shine in the palace. Because he's going to be the prime minister. And you can't be a prime minister with pause, with debris, with addiction, with anger, with pornography, with masturbation, with addiction. You can't. You cannot. You cannot. So 2 years was a purging time, was a therapy time, was a wilderness time, was a time for him to grow. So the things that happens to people that they will yell, scream, hey, I'm dying, I'm dead. You are just chilling. Look at Job. He had boils all over. Not only that his wealth went away, in 2 weeks, his children died, his business died, his wife died, left him. I said, excuse me, what are you doing? And he was sick. How many of us will be able to look at that episode and look at that scenario and say, no, it's not toxic. It's very okay. You will blame God. Is that not what the wife of Job did? The wife of Job felt relationship with Job and God was toxic. Oh, it's not. That was what she felt. And that was why the husband said, you are talking like a foolish woman. Will God give you good and not give you evil? Do you know that everything was restored to Job, but not his wife? Because she assumed that that relationship that she had with God was toxic. Joseph felt that that relationship was not toxic. That relationship with God, when God is dealing with you, helping you to grow, he allows challenges in your life to mature you. And when maturity comes, you become, your life becomes a beautiful fragrance. People smell your life. They are wondering, why are you so strong? What makes you thick? What makes you thick is that understanding that your relationship with God is not toxic. I've heard people now say, but God told me, but I was convinced. Why this challenge? It has to be. It makes you strong. It gives you muscles. It's like you are building weight. You're building your weight. Build your weight. That was what happened to Job. He has built his weight. He has built his relationship with God. He knew that whatever happens to him is not toxic. God is involved. Somebody should help me to write it. God is involved. God is too intelligent to be disorganized. He knows everything. He knows what's up. He understands the dynamics of the race. Listen to me. As soon as Joseph was okay, gone through therapy, was in the wilderness, was in isolation, what happened? The king just had a dream. I said, I had this dream. I don't understand. It's not a dream, it's a revelation. This is a paradox. I can't understand. And the butler just said, I know a guy. When I was in the prison, he interpreted my dream. He told me what will happen. That's why I'm here. 2 years, 2 solid years. Remove 2 years from your life. That's like toxic. That's a waste. Now, don't forget, God showed him a vision. He had a vision. He saw stars. His brother sold him out. He was trying to manage and survive in Potiphar's house. The next place is lying against, and went to the prison. And he could not even say that what they told the king, Mr. Potiphar, what they told him, he could not even say he did not do it. Who dares him to talk when you don't understand? When a man like that accuses you, you better shut up and go to the prison. If you say anything, you are in trouble. They can cut your head. They now put him in the dungeon for something he did not do. Your relationship with God is not toxic. He's taking you around. He's not taking you wrong. Calm down and enjoy the moment. Because when you come out, you are coming out as gold, not as a costume. You are going to go deeper. You are going to go stronger. You are going to be emotionally stable. Guess what? As soon as Joseph they called him to come. He knew he was done with his therapy. He knew he is not toxic. He's shaped. It's always good to know when you are going through storm, what is it all about? Is it about me? Is it about destiny? Is it God that is behind it? It's not. Now we're talking about toxic or not toxic. We are not looking at relationship with man now. We are talking about your relationship with God. Is it toxic? Is what you are going through now? Is it toxic? Is what is happening to you now? Is it Is it the devil doing it or for God's glory? If you understand it's not the devil, it's for the glory of God to be revealed, please grow. Do therapy, do counseling, just grow. Receive strength. And guess what happened? He just went to the palace and interpreted a dream. And his family had to go to Egypt to go and buy corn. They had money. There was money, there was no food. May we not get to that place in Nigeria when you have money and there's no food. I'm praying for this country. Like, my spirit is overwhelmed in the place of prayer for my nation, for my country, Nigeria. They had money. There was no food. So they had to run to Egypt to buy corn. Have you ever asked yourself, it's not toxic with God though? With Mrs. Potiphar go to Egypt to buy corn? Have you ever asked that question? That is for another time. So even if somebody is the one behind the scene of your toxicity and God was behind it, don't worry. Relax. The person is an instrument. Satan is an instrument. Brothers of Joseph are an instrument. Mrs. Potiphar was an instrument. Potiphar himself, I said, go to the king's prison and dungeon. Is an instrument in the hand of God. Nothing happens to you without the consent of your creator. And guess what happened? His father had to send his brothers, go and buy corn. Go to Egypt. We can't be dying. We can't starve. We have money, no food. And they left. And this is a man that they have sold out for years, was the prime minister. And he saw them. They did not recognize him, but he recognized them. That is the beauty of, is not toxic with God. He did not recognize them. Listen to me. Whatever happens to you today, whatever is going on in your life, tell yourself in 5 years' time, in 2 years' time, in 6 months' time, in 3 months' time, they will not recognize you because you would have been a changed person. Your story would have changed. God would have brought the diamond out of your dust. God would have made you so beautiful, so elegant, that they are wondering, what is she doing? What is she eating? What is the secret behind this? What is the secret behind this? And let me be honest with you. The secret is having the understanding that it is not toxic with God. And he saw them and he wept. Do you know, if he had not seen the need, or knowing fully well that it is not the devil that is torturing me or afflicting me or killing me, it's God that is purging me and pruning me. He said, if you do well, you'll be purged. If you don't do well, you'll be purged. But those that are doing well, they'll be purged the more. He would have told everybody in the government, those guys, mark them, they are spies and they are enemies. Kill them. But 2 years of healing, 2 years of growth, 2 years of maturity, 2 years of therapy, dealing with anger addiction, vengeance addiction, bitterness, hatred, malice, and everything. For 2 years, he started weeping. He's broken. And listen to me, somebody should write it. It is the broken that becomes a master in mending. It is the broken that becomes a master in mending. Please write it down. It is the broken that becomes a master in mending. If you are not broken, you can't be a master in mending. If you are not shattered and scattered, and you are not there's no beating here and there, there's no head blows, you cannot mend. So when it comes to God in your life, it is not toxic. He's the one behind the scene, shaking the scene. You may not see him, but he's there. You are an actor in that movie. You are an actor in that movie. You are not doomed to die. It's not an Indian film. It is an Indian film that their actors die. Your life is not going to end in tragedy. I welcome you to the world of greatness, world of peace, world of understanding, world of growth, world of spiritual development and maturity. Thank you. World of peace, sleeping in the storm. Jesus said, let's go to the other side, and he slept. He was sleeping inside the same boat. And those people that were afraid, you know what they were doing? They were throwing their clothes, their property, they were throwing it into the sea. They were sacrificing. Life is very interesting. They were sacrificing, they were agitated. And the master was there in the boat. He slept off. And he said, they started beating, we come, master, can't you see that we are perishing? He just laughed. I mean, this thing is not toxic. I'm the one in charge. I'm part of this. I'm involved. Thank you. I'm involved. I'm very much here. I need to rest. I've worked all day, all night. I need to sleep. I need to sleep. And he calmed the storm and he told them, what's your problem? You don't have faith. This is not toxic. It can't tell you to come to the other side, and the wind will come, the storm will blow, and at the end of the day, it will not look like it will dump you. It can't dump you. It's not toxic with God. 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 It knows the way that you take. When it's true with you, it will come out as gold. You are not coming out as a costume. You are not coming out as a perfume that is not expensive. I told you there's a bottle of perfume, small perfume that is 300,000 naira. That is how much in dollars? If you are living in the US or UK or Canada, can I see how much is 300,000 naira? A bottle of perfume. A bottle of perfume. A small bottle, not 100 mils, 50 mils. Because of the concentrate, because of the leaf, because of the saints, because of the seed that the production, what came out of that that seed, that leaf is so small, but the odor stays for long. You took your clothes to dry cleaner, you do everything, the fragrance is still there. You can even wash that clothes and wear it like that, and it will still remain, the perfume will still be intact. That is the life of everyone that understands that it is not toxic. It is just a relationship that God is helping you with. Is somebody getting me? Have I made a statement today? Have you been blessed? Let me see if you have been blessed. Take time to listen to this. This is not an episode you are going to listen if you are a believer in Christ Jesus. Okay, how did Joseph manage himself to be broken? Well, it can be an inner work. And I'm sure, because of space crisis, the Bible did not tell us a lot of things. The truth. But I'm sure, apart from the baker and the butler that he interpreted their dream, Joseph is a relational person. He must have gotten someone to vent with. That's what we do in therapy. You vent. You open up, you say things, you bring it out, because he actually vented with the baker and the butler, and they had to forget him, because while he was trying to speak to them, I didn't do anything, they put me in the prison, they lied against me, time was up, so those guys had to go. They left for their destiny. One was killed, one was restored, but he had other people that he's working with, processing the pain, processing the addiction. Whatever you are using to medicate your pain because of what has happened to you, you take time to use your support system. We call it a strong, solid support system that will help you to bring out the pulse of your pain, your past experiences, pain and the pulse of what others have done to you, what you don't deserve and has happened to you. We deal with it. Now, when you are out, you are fit for the palace. But until you are healed, let me say this to you, very simple. How do you know I'm healed? How did we know that Joseph was healed? When you touch the point of your pain and you are not feeling it again. Jesus was healed. Relationship with God and Jesus was not toxic. It was godly, it was divine. Do you know that when he touched the place, when he touched that place, when Thomas said, no, he's not grieving, he has not risen, he didn't die, it's a lie, made up story. Jesus said, touch this place. And he touched that place. And Jesus said, yeah, he's paining me. Why did you touch it? Pain. You didn't say that. You didn't feel the pain. When you are healed, properly healed, When they touch the point of your pain, you don't feel it again. It's as simple as that. You know you are healed. When you watch a movie that looks like your story and you are no more emotional or tearful about it, you are healed. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper. Thank you so much for listening this evening. I appreciate you dearly. I love you so much. I'll see you tomorrow on Being Sex Wise as Parents. Love you guys. Bye for now. Bye.